Hello everyone, Patrick in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week's 10 days, or today's second video, which will take us around the 13th of February. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. And we'll have a look at the CFSV2 at the end of the video and see what that shows for the next 4 weeks, which will just about take us into the beginning of March. The February month-end forecast for gas service has been released. So we're looking at quite a westerly February, quite a changeable month again, and probably quite mild too to end this exceptionally mild winter of 2019-2020. Have a look at the February month-end forecast when you've done with this one. Right, so I'm going to begin with what's going on in the stratosphere, first of all. So this is the current situation in terms of the temperature at 10 HPA over the Arctic and the North Pole. We still have a very cold stratospheric temperature over the Arctic, and particularly on the sort of Atlantic and Greenland and European side of the Arctic over here. Over on the Siberian side, and increasingly heading over towards the Canadian side as well, on the Pacific side of the Arctic, we do have a significant warming of the stratosphere currently taking place, where we've got these green, yellow, and just faint orange colours. That's where quite a significant warming of the stratosphere is taking place over Russia, and as I say, increasingly beginning to push in towards Canada as well. Let's see what happens then, and over the next few days, or the next day or so, that warming intensifies a little bit further there across Siberia with that deeper orange shade colouring. That's almost reaching the level of a genuine southern stratospheric warming. Then that pushes in towards Canada and over towards Greenland, so we get this displacement taking place. The blue colours there, the cold temperatures at 10 HPA being pushed increasingly down in towards Europe as the warming of the stratosphere moves out of Siberia into Canada and then over towards Greenland just there. This is all falling just short, though, of a sudden stratospheric warming. This is quite a significant warming of the stratosphere, but short of a genuine sudden stratospheric warming. That's how we look as we get to the 11th of February. With the latest GFS run, and by then the blue colours are beginning to push back in towards the North Pole itself once again. In the more extended range, this is how things are looking. So that first warming kind of fizzles away, but as we get beyond day 10, it looks like we've got another warming beginning to try and get going over southern parts of Russia and around the Black Sea, that sort of area. And this intensifies a little bit over southern parts of Russia and western Russia as well, but doesn't develop into a significant southern stratospheric warming either. So up to the 19th February, that's how we're looking. Increasingly those blue colours, which are the cold temperature at 10 HPA, are being weakened and squeezed, but the polar vortex is still well and truly there. It's still in business in the stratosphere, at its roots in the stratosphere. And up to sort of the 19th February, there's no sign of a proper southern stratospheric warming, which would sort of destroy the polar vortex or certainly do a lot of damage to it. There's no sign of that at the moment. So seemingly from a stratospheric perspective, we're getting very late on there to 19th of February, so seemingly from a stratospheric perspective, there is very little sign of change here, certainly fundamental change. So stratospherically and probably tropospherically as well, it looks like we're going to keep low pressure and the westerlies going well into February, which of course is something we was picking up on when we released the February forecast earlier today. And this is really indicative of what we're looking at. These are the 500 millibar high anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University for the next week's 10 days. It's taking us towards the middle of February. And we've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is now in the absolute high pressure and low pressure, up being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red extrapolate high pressure, blue to low pressure, and we can see that we're looking very unsettled indeed in the week to 10 day time frame of the ECM, deep trough of low pressure over and to the north and west of the country. We've got a very strong jet stream indicated by these tight lines here as well, across the Atlantic into Europe. So that's jet stream really blasting away across the Atlantic, and a strong ridge of high pressure from the Azores into southern parts of Europe. And just looking really westerly here, looking really Atlantic driven, wet, windy, probably stormy. It's a very deep trough of low pressure that we got there, so probably quite stormy in the 7 to 10 day time frame. The GFS is very similar, in fact it's near identical. The only difference is that it's even deeper with that trough of low pressure. We're actually going towards pink and purple type coloured shadings there to the north of the UK. That's a very intense area of low pressure indeed, and we have a really strong jet stream again blasting across the Atlantic into the UK and western parts of Europe. That's a very Atlantic driven and probably quite stormy weather pattern. And then we've got this pretty intense ridge here from eastern parts of America through the Azores and in towards Spain and Portugal and southern parts of Europe. So it remains the case that the westerlies go on. In fact, the westerlies are probably going to be strengthening next week and becoming very intense with the jet stream, and it's just a continuation of what we've had on and off all the way through this winter. Remains the case that the westerlies are well and truly in control. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're going to Oldham today. The red line 30-year upper air temperature average for Oldham. We're starting off a little bit colder than average at the moment. Those temperatures are going to lift up as we go through into the second half of the coming week. So we're going to see things getting quite mild again, second half of the coming week and then into next weekend. Then very up and down. This is all indicative of zonality, where we have these warmer and colder and warmer and colder sectors alternating with one another. And when you average it all out, we still come out warmer than average in the winter months anyway, and that takes us through to the middle part of February. Precipitation-wise, reasonably dry for the next few days until the end of the week. And then it looks like we've got a deluge here. The only saving grace, that with such a strong jet stream, such intense areas of low pressure, we will see the bands of rain. There will be plenty of rain, but we will see those bands of rain moving through very rapidly. I think, you know, be a sort of situation where a weather front will come in and it'll rain for a couple of hours and it'll very quickly get blown away by that jet stream. So very fast moving bands of rain, but quite a lot of them. You can see that there is a lot of precipitation spikes in there. So the second week of February looking quite stormy and also potentially really quite wet as well. Possibly a bit of a drying trend into the second half of February, but of course that is extended range stuff. Temperature anomalies from the 3rd to the 11th of February are slightly milder than average. It continues to be the case that this mild winter goes on. Precipitation anomalies are wetter than average through central and northern parts of the country, near normal down in the south. I would anticipate these will be trending wetter in the days ahead. This is how the GFS is looking for Thursday. So we're under high pressure still on Thursday, mainly dry, probably a bit cold, particularly at night. Some night frost is possible through the middle part of the week. By the time you get through to Friday, the ridge is slipping over towards Germany and central parts of Europe as low pressure then is starting to move in from the Atlantic. So by the time you get through to Saturday, here we go again. We're back under the cosh from the Atlantic. The first band of rain will move through late Friday into Saturday. Saturday itself, probably a breezy day of sunshine and showers, but look at all the low pressure that's waiting in the wings in the Atlantic. Various disturbances, all being driven by this main sort of polar vortex and very deep, intense area of low pressure that's sitting close to Greenland and eastern parts of Canada. And it's all heading our way on a very strong jet stream. That's Sunday, looking quite stormy. On Sunday, could be severe gale force winds, probably heavy rain. being replaced by showers. That's Monday, a week away. So then we're into a cold run of northwest winds. We call this cold zonality, as it is zonal. Everything's moving from west to east. Maddie's zonal. But the difference is that the air is originating from like South Greenland. So it's a zonal flow, but with quite cold temperatures coming out of Greenland. There is a long sea trek across the Atlantic which modifies that to some degree. It's probably cold enough to bring snow showers in towards Scotland. Notice this area of low pressure just here around Newfoundland. Look what happens with that in the days afterwards. This is Tuesday, the 11th of February. We're still with this cold zonal flow, winds in from the northwest, but we've got this next low just here moving rapidly our way along the jet stream. This is very intense and rapid cyclogenesis, and by the time you get through to the end of Tuesday, the 11th of February, that's whipping itself up into a very, very significant area of low pressure indeed. In fact, we get a true battering from a severe storm as we go late from the 11th into 12th of February. Don't take the track of that low pressure too literally. Obviously, this is a long way out. It's over a week away. The low pressure could be centred to the north. It could even be to the south. But that's a direct hit from what I'm sure the newspapers would term a weather bomb, as that area of low pressure deepens like mad and gets pushed our way by the jet stream. That looks very severe. But it's a long way out. It's over a week away. If it came off, it would bring severe gales, heavy rain, probably storm force winds. And on the northern edge, I would expect a big dump of snow probably across Scotland. That gets out of the way, and we're left with this run of cold northwesterly winds again, bringing more wintry showers into the north and west. And then by day 10, we begin to raise the heights over France again. So the wind begins to back towards the southwest. We start to drag in some milder air then. Beyond day 10 to Friday the 14th February, another low pressure is rattling in. So this brings us very unsettled in Valentine's Day. And then into the second half of the month, still unsettled. Gradually the low pressure begins to push away to the east. We do try and raise the heights a little bit to the northwest. So just hinting that as we get through to the second half of February, perhaps goes a bit colder with winds swinging in from the northwest and possibly building up some sort of ridge as well. So it's a little bit drier and colder there just after mid-month, but of course that's a very, very long way out. It's very extended range stuff and unreliable therefore. The GM looks like that. High pressure dominates for Thursday, giving us a mainly dry and quite chilly middle part of the week. High pressure collapses by the time we get through to weekend. Low pressure back in business. Then over weekend into next week, increasingly stormy with the Canadian model. Deep areas of low pressure rattling through on quite a strong cold northwesterly wind. That's how we finish up with the GM at day 10, which is Thursday the 13th of February. And we still look really unsettled. Low pressure is digging in from off the Atlantic. We're just about on the cold side of the jet stream. The jet stream is indicated here with this black line just there. So we're just about on the cold side of the jet. Therefore, we're in cold zonality. But everything is still driving in from off the Atlantic. It's not a genuinely cold sort of Arctic or Siberian type northerly or easterly pattern. Nevertheless, it's probably cold enough to deliver snow to northern parts of the country, especially high ground. Scottish mountains can do very, very well for snow from cold zonality. So if you're planning a trip to the Scottish Highlands, do a bit of skiing, somewhere like Abbeymoor next week, you may get quite a lot of snow. This is how the ECM is looking. So again, high pressure is in control for Thursday. It gradually begins to move away on Friday. By Saturday, we start to turn unsettled. Bands of rain moving in off the Atlantic. And then as we go through into the rest of the weekend and early next week, again, the scene is increasingly stormy. Low pressure is really driving in from off the Atlantic and just carries on really through to the middle part of next week as well. That low pressure that the GFS 6 o'clock run developed into a very significant storm is further north with the ECM. So that's bringing just generally wet and windy weather, probably gale force winds. It's not quite as severe as what the GFS 6 o'clock run was showing. We finish up at day 10 with the ECMWF again in this rather cold, showery northwesterly wind, and certainly cold enough for snow showers across the northern parts of Scotland as well. These are really, really unsettled charts though for next week. This is how the precipitation forecast looks based on that ECM run from Tibetio.com. So, few bits and pieces of rain across the south coast later today, and wintry showers up across northern Scotland. Otherwise, most places are dry. Overnight, the showers get going actually and push southwards and eastwards, so there could be some wintry showers coming southwards through Northern Ireland, Northern England, parts of North Wales as well. Probably quite significant snowfalls over the Scottish mountains. Tomorrow, we're going to build in high pressure, so we'll cut off the wind. We could have gales or severe gale force winds tonight across Scotland, as well as those wintry showers. But all of that will calm down tomorrow, and we're going under high pressure, and then that keeps us mainly dry and calm through the middle part of the week. Towards the end of the week, that high pressure begins to collapse, but another mostly dry day, really, for Friday. It's not till sort of Friday night into Saturday morning that this band of rain begins to push in from the west. And that one goes quite patchy, actually, as it pushes across the country. A band of rain on that becomes quite patchy. But it is sort of the start of going back into low pressure. And then this much more active area of low pressure pushes in over Saturday night into Sunday. That brings a band of really heavy rain across the country, some hill snow could be associated with that, and very windy conditions with that too. Into the early part of next week, so plenty of wintry showers on this cold northwesterly for northern, western parts of the country, particularly western parts of Scotland. Could be some heavy snow showers coming through there, maybe some for Northern Ireland too, possibly northwest England through the early part of next week. Then in comes that next area of low pressure, bringing lots of cold rain to England and Wales, possibly some snow on high ground further north, and we finish up going back into that cold, showery northwesterly by day 10, 13th of February. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is the 13th of February. And from the Icelandic Met Office, have 13 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure in control, driving in bands of rain, and no doubt cold zonality as well. With that, have 12, including the operational run. That's run just been talking about again with low pressure to our north, bringing in the wind from the northwest. 10, again, low pressure over to the north of the country. 8, low pressure just to the north. 5, low pressure in the Atlantic and to the north, and 3, again, low pressure driving in. Very, very subtle differences with those, but they are all in the same direction. They're just very, very slight differences within the various scenarios from those ensembles, but essentially they are all in the same direction, or going in the same direction, which is Atlantic driven and westerly and very unsettled as we go through to day 10, so heading up towards the middle part of February. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 18th of February. Have 90 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our north, high pressure is to our south. So just going a little bit dry, a little bit less unsettled, and probably very mild. 18 still driving in the low pressure, so they're still very unsettled. And then 14 taking low pressure further away from us into the North Atlantic. High pressure building over and just to the east and southeast of the country. That's sending us drier, probably very mild. The winds, I would have thought, still coming up from the south to southwest with that. So perhaps a bit of a taste of spring there with those 14 members of the ECM ensembles. Finally, CFSV2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period will take us from the 3rd to the 9th of February. The coming week is going to be dominated by high pressure, really, until the weekend, when low pressure then will start to break down that ridge. But we will have a few days of mainly dry weather. Week 2 is the 10th to the 16th of February, low pressure again out to the north and west, high pressure sort of to the south, bringing in more of a westerly flow. That's a much more unsettled week, especially for northern western parts of the country. and probably mild. Week 3 is the 17th to the 23rd of February. Low pressure continues to be to the northwest. In comes the west-southwesterly winds. Probably reasonably settled for southern and southeastern parts of the country. Close to that ridge, high pressure more unsettled out to the northwest. Temperatures will be very mild. And then finish up in week 4, which is the 24th of February to the 1st of March. Low pressure again is out to our west. In come the westerly winds, and up to the end of February and just into the start of March, we continue to look mild, but still Atlantic driven. Absolutely extraordinary how this pattern's gone on throughout the whole of the winter with very little deviation. It's quite unusual that to have the same pattern at the end of a season that you begin a season with. Normally through a season, remember a season lasts for sort of 12 weeks or 3 months, so it is quite unusual to have the same pattern from beginning to end. Normally you will get a deviation and a change at some point through a season. So this is quite an unusual winter, and it's indicative of the fact that the polar vortex has been very, very intense this winter and has just kept the westerlies going, and we've not had anything to sort of break us out of this pattern, such as a sudden stratospheric warming might do. So there we go, right way to the end of February, and the CFS is still seeing the westerlies going on. Westerlies just go on and on. Eventually we will get some sort of pattern change, but when it happens, I don't know, and there's very little sign of it through February at the moment, let's put it that way. And next week we could be well and truly in for a battering of very intense areas of low pressure, bringing bouts of heavy rain, severe gale force winds, quite disruptive weather potentially, and maybe even a fair amount of snow over high ground up in the north, on the northern side of those areas of low pressure. So that's it. We'll be bringing an update with all of the developments again tomorrow. I think got the ECMWF 30-day look ahead coming up tomorrow. Probably a bit later with that. I've got a busy morning tomorrow morning, so that'll probably be early afternoon. And then the week to 10-day video update will be after that, probably late tomorrow afternoon. That's all for now though, and thanks for watching.